Hello, accountability buddies. I'm Les, and this is another episode of Less is More Healthy, coming to you from vacation and my bike. I'm out for a ride. I'm getting a couple of miles in today and really enjoying the ride. It's a super balmy day. We've got a little bit of cloud cover. It's been threatening to spit rain all day long. It's held off. We haven't gotten any rain at all. But it's kept it in the mid 70s all day, and it's a perfect day for a good ride. I'm not doing a huge long ride. This is my first day back on the bike since the rail trail up in Maine. I will say, so the Down East Sunrise Trail, which is a rail trail in Washington County, Maine, it goes roughly from Calais, Maine to Ellsworth, Maine. It's about 90 miles of rail trail, and it is a loose, chunky gravel that is pretty hard to ride. I would say if you are thinking about doing it, and I know I've talked about this a couple of times before, it's part of the East Coast Greenway. Well, it's one of the options through Down East Maine for the East Coast Greenway. A lot of people choose not to do it because of the state of the gravel and the fact that it is a mixed use trail that does allow motorized vehicle traffic. Um, I have many thoughts on that, which I might get into a little bit later in this video, but the trail conditions vary within a day. So what my partner and I did was we rode out from Jonesboro, Maine to Machias, Maine. It's a 14-mile stretch, and it was rough, and a lot of the gravel is pretty loose, and it's loose gravel because of ATVs. They lay down a loose, chunky gravel, and then grade it a little bit a couple times a year. So like the sections that are near Machias and East Machias get cared for a lot more because they have volunteers that get out there and work on the trail. Jonesboro doesn't have that. Harrington doesn't have that. A lot of the trail upkeep is done by whatever committee runs the rail trail. And the the trail itself is really scenic. It's really beautiful. It takes you through areas of Maine that you're just not going to see unless you're on that trail. You know, it runs along a couple of rivers. There's some swampy areas. And it's just beautiful. And then part of the trail is right on the coast. And the Machias to East Machias portion is just gorgeous. But that loose, chunky gravel is really hard to contend with. And the washboarding or corrugation that happens because of the high speed all-terrain vehicle traffic really makes the experience on bike unpleasant. You know, that loose gravel just sucks your tires this way and that way. You know, I've got 40mm tires on the G1 with still the tires that came with it. And I've got 2.25 tires on my partner's bike, and she was really struggling to stay upright. We lowered the tire pressure on her bike, and it still was sucking her this way and that way. I lowered my tire pressure. It sucked me this way and that way. It's hard to stay upright. It is a full body workout to ride that trail. And I would not suggest that trail to someone who is just starting out with gravel riding. You know, I've been doing this for a year now, and I was struggling on it. And I've come a long way since last year. That's a whole other probably topic for a video, but like my capability on the bike has expanded exponentially since last year. You know, I'm able to control the bike a lot better. My speed has gone up, and I'm able to do more miles in less time than I was able to last year. My partner's not there yet. My partner is still a beginner, and she only gets out on the trail because I like it. Um, if you are a beginner rider, that is not a trail you're going to enjoy riding on a, you know, average everyday gravel bike. You're going to need at least 2-inch tires, probably a 45mm at the minimum. Anything bigger, you're going to enjoy. Probably a mountain bike is a better choice for that trail. And if that was my regular trail, I would be, I would have purchased one of the Ozark, probably the Ozark Trail Ridge or whatever they're calling their mountain bike right now. I would not, I don't think I would have gotten the G1 unless I was just going to, I mean, that trail is just too rough for this bike. And soft. And that's the, there's another plane. That's the real problem with that trail is that the trail conditions change from mile to mile and hour to hour. So we rode out. I did the 14 miles from Jonesboro to Machias, turned around at the Dunks, and headed back. And the trail conditions from that morning were okay. You know, they were soft. It was loose, but the corrugations were down to a minimum. But there had been, it was a Saturday morning. There's a festival happening in town, and the trail conditions drastically changed due to the sheer volume of all-terrain vehicle traffic. The ATV traffic was thick and heavy. You know, I think I saw at least 30 to 40 ATVs going by. And then they have another vehicle, a utility terrain vehicle, so like a UTV. This up there they call them side by sides that um, they just go like a bat out of hell. They can hit 50, 60 miles an hour. A lot of them, that kind of speed with those chunky ATV tires just really tears the trail up. And I saw a lot of evidence of smaller ATVs pulling donuts on the trail. So the trail is just beaten to hell by this motorized vehicle traffic. And so the ride back home, back to my parents' place, was a lot rougher. And I'm never someone who, when I'm on the trail, thinks, damn, I can't wait to hit the pavement. But at the end of that trail, I was like, oh, sweet, sweet pavement. Um, that's not something I'm usually looking for. That's not something that I want ever. But that trail was so rough that I was just looking forward to getting onto pavement after it. And that should tell you a lot about that trail because I normally love unpaved trails. Those are my favorite. But the trip back, there was tons of corrugation or washboarding. The trail, you could see where the tires of the ATVs had dug down into the surface of the trail and left a slightly harder pack. So it's like hard pack underneath loose, chunky gravel. And it is the hardest surface to ride ever. Um, so the combination of the corrugation and then that gave me a real full body workout, which I'm not complaining about the workout, but I was really sore in a way that, you know, that 50-mile ride didn't give me. I was sore in a way that I haven't been in a long time. And I do think I'm going to ride that trail again, but I don't think I'll do it on a gravel bike. Or if I do it on a gravel bike, I'll be doing it on much thicker tires. Um, Something that's at least 2.5 inches wide. Maybe I'll put mountain bike tires on this and try it again. But yeah, that was, it was fun. And then it became not fun real fast. The trip back was um, intense and unfun in a very specific kind of way, you know? Um, it just became a slog of like, all right, I just got, you know, 2 more miles to go, 1 more mile to go until I hit pavement. And the next day I woke up and I was stiff and sore and not in like I overworked my muscles kind of way, in a like I hurt because this was rough. Um, And so, no, I've heard a lot of people say that's the worst trail in existence for cycling. And there's a reason why people don't do that as part of the East Coast Greenway. They do the road instead. Um, and the good thing about the road up there is that they have widened the shoulders significantly. In town, like where you would go to get on that route, there are like nice wide shoulders. There are turn lanes for cars, so they can give you plenty of space. But there are many reasons not to do that section of the East Coast Greenway for sure. So I'll talk a little bit more about it when I show some of the videos. Um, but yeah, that I'm feeling much better now. It's been 3 days since I was on that trail, and I feel good now. But Sunday I was a hurting unit for sure. So I guess if you're gonna do that trail, at least front suspension, suspension seat post. I was testing out a suspension seat post thing called the air seat. Um, I got some thoughts about that I'll talk more about in a perhaps review. Yeah, so that's where I'm at in terms of riding and all that. I got some thoughts that I'm going to talk about in another episode here. But thanks for being here. Thanks for watching these videos, and I appreciate all of you for being here. And I'll see you next time. Thanks and bye.